Before we go upstairs, I want you to take a look at the carpet right here. Obviously the carpet's in pretty bad shape, and we're going to replace the carpet throughout this entire house. But there's one thing I want to mention before we do that. You're going to replace most of the carpet in all of the houses that you buy, unless they installed it yesterday. Because from a psychological standpoint, when a new homeowner steps in the front door, the first thing you want them to smell is new paint and new carpet. Because from a psychological standpoint, they go, okay, I don't need to do anything. This is really nice. This is brand new. So if they come in here and they smell a musty old carpet or don't smell that new home smell, psychologically, there's a certain portion of them that gets turned off, and then they start looking for things that are wrong with the house, as opposed to looking at the things that you've done that are neat and nice to the house, such as all the new lighting, all new carpeting, all new painting. If it's not new, they have a tendency to look now, well, the carpet's not new. That's the first thing they notice. Then they say, well, what else isn't new? But if everything's new when they walk in, that quickly dissipates from them and they don't think about it. So let's take a walk upstairs. All right, as we come up the steps, obviously you can see the carpet's in pretty bad shape. So it goes without saying that we're going to replace this. So when you come up the steps, the first thing you notice at the very top of the steps is the second bathroom, not the master, but the second one. And you're going to look, the floor is not in bad shape. So what we may end up doing is we may end up just doing an overlay of grout to make it nice and neat. Again, looking at all the bathrooms, you're going to do the same thing to every bathroom. New toothbrush holder, a few dollars. Towel rack, a few dollars. Toilet paper holder, a few dollars. New toilet seat. If you want to replace the vanity, less than $200. This sink is actually in pretty good shape. Again, it's porcelain. It's hard to destroy porcelain. So if you want to make a nice fancy look out of it, you just take this faucet off and replace it with a nicer faucet. If you want to keep this, you can keep it, put new knobs, do the old English trick, and it comes out beautifully. Now if you step inside here and you look at the toilet, or I mean the shower, pretty basic shower. Nothing, no damage, no nothing. We're not going to do anything to it other than paint this room and put a shower curtain across here when we go to put props there. Alright, now that we're in this is the master bedroom. If you look around, obviously the carpet still needs to be replaced. It's the same carpet, same price. We've already accounted for that price. The painting, you've already accounted for the walls being painted. And in the $800 in lighting, we've already accounted for the ceiling fan. So there's really not much left to do in this room because the windows all work. We're not going to replace any of the windows. So now let's step into the master bath. All right, this is the master bath. If you look down here, this is the master bath vanity. Now, chances are these are going to be custom. And if they're standard, we can buy one pretty easily. When I say custom, I mean this down here. This is going to be this is probably custom. It may not be though. We may just have to put a piece in there. But you can probably replace this for less than $300-400 to replace all of this. I would not replace the mirror. The mirror's in good shape. But I would do the lighting. Again, that's all part of the $800 in lighting package that we're going to put in this house. That's what's going to give it the pop that it needs. This, we're going to make sure these are standard throughout all the bathrooms. We're going to put the same towel bars in all the bathrooms. Same thing with the knobs. We're going to put the same knobs throughout the whole bathroom. Okay? If we keep this porcelain sink and just change out the countertop, which is what I'll end up doing, is just change the countertop. I won't change this because I don't want to mess with if it's standard or not. I'm just going to replace the countertop. That can be cut at whatever length I want. I'm going to keep this porcelain sink and I'm going to change out the faucet. Okay, as you come into the bath, you've got more parquet floors down here. Again, I don't particularly care for this. I'm either going to put ceramic in here, or I'm just going to come in here with an upgraded vinyl and put a nice vinyl floor in here with a transition piece. Toilet's going to remain the same. It's not damaged in any way. I'll replace the seat, replace the bar here. As far as the tub's in great shape. I'm not going to replace the tub. I will, however, have a professional contractor come in and redo the caulking around here and pull that out and redo that and finish that. That'll be my painter that does that. And as far as the shower, there's a couple things you could do here. You could leave this bar, well, put a new one, of course, but you could leave a bar, or you can actually put a door on here that opens up. Me, I'm inclined to go ahead and put a shower door on here so that it gives it a better look, a nicer look. And then we've got some areas up here that need to be caulked and fixed as we paint. That's all going to be included in the price, so you don't have to pay for anything additional. Okay, that's pretty much everything that we've covered. The only thing we didn't see is the other two rooms, and they're pretty basic. You know, you got some lighting in there, you got to paint it, and you got to put new carpeting, which is already included in your budget. There's nothing else really that needs to be done. So let's go ahead downstairs, and we're going to go over the pricing and see how we can structure the pricing and what we need to kind of put a small budget together. All right? Okay, now that we've walked around the outside, we've walked around the inside of the house, and we've kind of gotten our items as to a general look as to what we're going to do. Now I'm going to try to put it on paper as to how much I think this thing's going to cost. Now understand, I'm going to bump up some areas because there's some areas I probably missed, and we've only taken a few minutes to walk around this house, really. So you're going to want to add some cushion in there. So let's take a look at this sheet where we are. Landscaping. You know, I'm going to anticipate we're going to spend about $1,000 outside with the pine straw and the removal and the planting of stuff. Not a lot of money, but it will cost us close to $1,000. Probably $500, but I'm going to bump it up just a little bit. Siding. You know, we've got to replace a few pieces of siding. It's probably only going to be $100 or $200, but I'm going to give it a little kick of $500. Painting, this house is going to cost us about $2,000 to paint. And included in the painting is also the pressure washing that we talked about. So you got to make sure you do this in a specific order. So you want to make sure that your siding is done first before you get your painting done, obviously. So you're going to do your siding, and you can do your landscaping first as well. Because we want those two things done first on the outside so that we're ready for the painting, so that when the painting's done, everything looks really sharp on the outside. So now we've got, let's say, $2,000 on the outside. And again, you can get 3 quotes for your painting just to make sure that you're in the neighborhood of $2,000. But a house, 1,600 square foot house like this, shouldn't cost you any more than $2,000, depending on where you are in the country. But generally speaking, if you get the right painters, it's going to be about $2,000. So then we've got gutters. We really don't have any gutter work. So unless you're going to keep it and hold it for yourself for a rental property, you might have gutter guards, so then you're going to have an expensive gutters. But for our purposes, we're going to buy this thing and we're going to flip it. We're not going to do any gutters other than paint them, and the painters are going to do that for us. So then we look at windows. We have no expense on windows. The roof, we're just going to pressure wash that. Not pressure wash it, but wash it. Garage doors. Garage doors. It's going to cost us about $800 to do that, to put those 2 garage doors in with nice vinyl brand new garage doors. It's going to cost us about $800, but I'm going to go ahead and put $1,000 down. Driveway and sidewalks. Now, if you remember, we had that piece out front that had a large chunk or divot in it. I'm going to leave it for now, but I'm going to kind of reserve some money in case a homeowner says, I want this fixed before I'll close. Because it is kind of an eyesore, but if I've got a contract on it, then I'll go ahead and fix it if I know how much the contract is. Otherwise, I probably won't, because there are other driveways in the neighborhood that look just like that. It's a call on your part. It's one of those things that you got to make a judgment. And just so you know, when you make that cut, you can't just replace that square. You got to go all the way across, and it's going to be probably a 12-foot, 15-foot cut with that much cement. Not really expensive, but money that I would rather spend inside the house than outside the house. So let's go back. So we're not going to spend any more. We're just going to pressure wash them. Mailbox, you're going to spend, you know, $50 at the most. I'm going to put it at $100. And with everything that's going on outside, there's not a lot of debris, so I'm not going to use a dumpster. So I'm going to basically tell my contractors, you guys have to get rid of this stuff. Take the debris away on your own. So if you add all that stuff, we're looking at, you know, $3,000, $4,000, $4,600 here on the outside. So now let's take a look at the inside of the house. If we go to the kitchen, we said countertops. That probably won't cost us more than $200. It'll probably cost us less than that, but let's call it $200. The appliances, if we look at the appliances, you got a $200 dishwasher, probably a $400 to $500 stove, and then a $50 hood. So I went ahead and put $800 there for basically the appliances, the hood, and the microwave. Now, let's take a look at the cabinets and the hardware. We call it cabinets and hardware. You got a few dollars in the products that we talked about, the Old English and the Murphy's Oil Soap. But as far as the hardware goes, that can get expensive. That's going to cost you about $200 for all that hardware. So basically you're going to spend $1,200 on your kitchen. Okay, now that does not include the flooring, it doesn't include the paint on the walls or anything like that. But that's that's expected. So let's look at the bathrooms, and I'm going to group all three of these bathrooms together. Because if you we looked at all three bathrooms, and there really wasn't much in there. It was basically a new toilet seat, a new vanity, let's call it $150 for the new vanity, and some miscellaneous stuff. So I put 3 bathrooms times 300, which is about $900 total for the bathrooms. The next item we have is flooring. Now, again, if we're putting carpet throughout this whole house, and I'm paying $1.10 a square foot, I'm going to be paying, it's a 1,600 square foot house, so I'm going to be paying about $2,000 for flooring. And roughly about the same for painting this entire house. And that includes all the trim, that includes everything there is about the house, painting everything from top to bottom. Now we had mentioned earlier, you got $800 in lighting. And the only other thing that we haven't taken into consideration is the louver door and the ceiling in this one bathroom. And basically we're talking roughly $200 for that. And again, this is from experience, a lot of this, but as you go through it, you're going to get a quote from your contractor to cover some of this, but you want to be able to identify a lot of the pieces, and by using something like this, we have an inspection sheet in the course that you can use that's very comprehensive. But when you first walk up on a house, if you want to get good, if you want to just kind of get an eyeball of it, use something like this. It should be fine for what you've got, because I'm going to tell you, most houses have these particular items on all of them, whether it's a pretty house that needs very little money or whether it's a big rehab that needs everything replaced. The cost is going to be roughly the same. So with that being said, let's add this up. You've got $1,200 on the kitchen, $900 in the baths combined. Okay, so that's $2,100. Another $4,000, that's $6,100, and another $1,000, so that's $7,100 on the inside of this house. So when you add both of these together, you're looking at basically $11,700. Or if you want to add some fluff to it, call it $12,000.